Well, hey crafty friends, it's Hiedi Scott with DiyDreaming, and on this video tutorial I'm going to show you something really fun. We're going to make a braided rope cross wreath, and it's going to have a lot of my favorite things in it. It's going to have some of this quilt batting to make flowers. It's going to have some of this canvas duck to make a wrap and make flowers. It's going to have buttons, and I'm not sure what else. Anyways, we're going to do this one today, and then we'll do the other one that I've been working on either tomorrow or the day after. All right, as you are hopping on, say hello, let me know where you're watching from, feel free to sprinkle all that good stuff. All right, this right here, what do they call this? Nautical rope from Dollar Tree. They do have two different variations of it. This one is a little bit longer and it's thinner, and this one is thicker and shorter. I like the thicker and shorter, but basically what you're going to do to get this project started is you're going to take three of them, three long lines of your rope, clamp it together, and braid it. And that is basically what I have done here. This is going to be the front of the wreath. And it is going to be a little challenging to get it so that you can't see the ends, but I have an idea for that. All right, this is some canvas duck from a fabric store, and this is a pretty thick, this is probably 8 ounces. You want the thicker the better. And I'm just going to snip, and let me tell you what the width is. It's about 1 3/4 wide. I'm just going to take a little snip. And then I'm going to tear it. I don't think that's going to be enough. Let's do one more. We're going to cover our cross with this because it matches perfectly to the Dollar Tree rope. And 1 3/4 inches wide is pretty wide, so that means we won't have to wrap it 10 million times. Okay. Let me just set this aside. You guys would not even believe how much canvas duck I go through here at DiyDreaming, because I love to do stuffies, and there's a ton of other projects that you can do with it. Okay, I'm going to remove the strings off the pieces that we tore, and we will get started. We are using a low temperature hot gluing device, and I definitely recommend that you use a low temperature one for this project because your fingers are going to be in the way. This wreath right here is from Dollar Tree also. It was $1.25. And I bought 2 of them just the other day with this idea of what I was going to do with it. So let's start down here at the bottom. I'm going to wrap it around the bottom a couple times, but I'm not going to glue that, because we're going to tuck our braided rope in here. Okay, let's start gluing it at this point. And I just want to be able to fully cover that up. This is all going to be covered up by the rope. So it's basically just covering the wreath form to give it a all over white color. I'm going to glue about every other time. If we had a much thinner strip, it would take longer to do this part. So we're going to cover the whole entire thing. Just wrapping this. around and around and around. And then I did my braiding on my rope before I came live so that you wouldn't have to sit and watch me braid a piece of rope. I don't think that's super interesting. Okay, strings everywhere. So every other time I go around, I'm gluing it. Can you guys see what I'm doing? If you have comments that are in your way, let us know. And someone out there, can you explain how to get those out of the way? In case you're watching on Facebook, because I know that's frustrating. And but it's a totally different story if you're watching on YouTube. Okay, this part's going to be a little challenging to go over the cross part, but I think it's going to be just fine. Let's just glue that down. I think I'm going to need some more of these strips. I do want to get the strings off before we start gluing. So tell me in the comments if you like to tear fabric. I do. It's so oddly satisfying. I'm not even sure why, but it just is. Okay, so let's just glue this here. It'll be covered up. And then I'll pull it around and we'll start wrapping up the top. I'm gluing every other wrap, every other time around. On the burlap one, we will be using this to wrap our cross. We'll be making flowers out of this, and we'll be using this kind of rope, plus one of those cross wreaths. So I'll let you know when that's going to be. I was going to try to do them both today, but I want to be able to not feel in a rush and tell you everything that I can think of, so I will do it separate. Okay, I'm not going to glue this last wrap down because we're going to be hiding the end of our rope here at the top as well. And I'm going to use one of these little clampy things from Dollar Tree just to hold it in place right now. Thank you so much for the stars. I did not see who did that, but as you guys are watching, tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if you like to tear fabric. Okay, same deal at the ends of the sides here. I had to think about how I was going to hide the rope. And I'm going to use this clampy right here. It would be nice if this would work. It was long enough to do this whole cross. Oh, I think it's going to. Okay, and I'm just gonna pucker this part right here in the center because it's going to be covered up, so it will not matter at all. Ooh, this is going to be close. We will make it work. I'm going to just use another one of these Dollar Tree clamps. So So here's our wrapped cross. It kind of looks like a mummy, don't you think? Next thing we're going to do, what did I lose over here? My scissors. We're going to take one end of our braided Dollar Tree nautical rope, and we're going to cinch it up with one of these little zip ties. These came from Dollar Tree. You can get them in craft stores in different sizes, but I just have 3 pieces of rope joined there, and I'm going to cut the tail off. All right, and let's start, let me think. Let's start at the bottom. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke it into the center space of my cross. There we go. And then I'm going to pull it down. Let me show you. See, I just have it poked in right here. And then I'm going to pull my wrapping down, and I am going to glue it down, and then we'll pull this up and over the wrapping. Some glue. What do you guys think so far? This is, seriously, it's going to be such a beautiful project, which I think will be great to have at Easter. But this is going to go totally in my decor perfectly. And I think that you could use it all year long. Okay, so let's glue this shut here. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing, but I'll hold it up. Okay. So here's the bottom of our wreath that I poked that the end of this braided wreath in, and now I'm just going to fold it over on itself, and we're going to glue it all the way up to the top. Can you guys see that? How fabulous that's going to be? Initially, I was thinking I might kind of snake it, but I think I'm just going to do straight. So, I'm just going to put some glue right down here in the center. Here's a tip for braiding rope. If you take the 3 ends and you tape it like to your kitchen counter, then you can braid and back up, and you'll have a long braid, and it's much easier to handle that way. This is going to be so pretty. We're going to make some beautiful flowers to go in the center. So stay with me because you don't want to miss that. And we're going to be using some quilt batting and some duck cloth to do our flowers. So it's going to be awesome. Okay, I'm just going to go up to here. I think I'm going to leave this part open so that I can pull the side one through it. See how that's coming along? Okay, and when I get clear up here, whoops, what am I doing? I need to open this up. Let's see. I need something to get this glob of glue off. forgot what I was doing already. I got so excited. Okay, so I'm unwrapping the end of it because we're going to do the same thing where we tuck it in. So that means I need a zip tie. We need to figure out where we're going to end this. And I need to zip tie that off. I think right there, but I need enough to go into the space in the center. I'm just putting my zip tie on as tight as I can get it, and we'll snip it off. And then I'm going to cut through. And you know what? I need to put a zip tie here before I keep going, because otherwise this, I've worked with this rope before. It has a tendency to want to unravel, and I have got 2 projects out that I've made with this kind of Dollar Tree rope to show you. Okay, so let's just cut in between these 2 zip ties. Okay, so I am going to poke it through that center area again, which is kind of narrow for this to fit through it, but we're going to make it work. And then I'm going to pull it clear up. We're going to finish our wrap. I'll show you this up close in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to pull this underneath and then we'll glue it down, but I need to see what I'm doing. And hopefully you guys can see too. I may come back and cover up if there's any little areas of the wire wreath form. I may come back and cover those up. Here it is before I've glued it down. So let's put some glue in that center area. Just a pile of it. And then we'll push this down. And I'm not gluing down the center area yet. Oh, Cindy says my instructions are great. Sometimes it's hard to explain what you're doing. You know what? Let me tell you what kind of crafter I am. I am the kind of crafter that I figure out what I want to do, and then I figure out how I can make that happen. And sometimes that is hard to explain. Okay. Now let's do from here to here. And we did the same thing. We didn't wrap the very end so that we could poke it through right here. We did zip tie it so it's not getting all frayed. You might have to bend that. Bend your form just a little bit to. Okay, so now I'm gonna wrap this. I'm gonna glue it good. I do think I am gonna have to come back and glue some little pieces of this to cover up the green and this is what it looks like on the back. I may also line the back of it. This is going to be so pretty, I know I'm going to want to have it out. Okay, so now I'm going to just sort of smush this flat, and we're going to pull this tail underneath the center spot. look at what this is going to look like. What do you guys think? I'm so excited. Okay, so I need to do the same thing with the zip ties. I need 2 spots. One is for the area that I'm going to cut this and poke it through that center spot. And the other is just to prevent the rest of the rope from unraveling. And I'll save this. I don't know what we'll do with it, but maybe we'll have another braided rope project coming up. Okay, so see, I have 2 pieces of this zip tie. And let's just cut. Okay, this is what I have left. And it has zip ties at each end. So I'll hang on to that for something in the future. Okay, and let's do the same thing. I'm going to remove or unwrap the wrapping so that I can poke this through the middle part of my cross and pull it clear out to the end. It's hard to get a hold of it. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap underneath it. And then we're going to start the flowers. And of course for your and then we'll glue this down. Of course for your flowers, you can, you know, use whatever kind of flowers you want. I was just thinking this is an excuse for us to make flowers again here on DIY Dreaming. I hope you guys don't get sick of that. But flowers are my favorite. Flowers and faith stuff are my favorite. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap this around and glue it. I do think I probably will come back and cover the back of this so it looks tidy, because right now it looks like a big mess. Oops. Okay, where am I? Isn't that pretty? Can you, okay, so far in this project, we have 3 strands of that nautical rope at $125 each. And then we have the cross wreath form. So it's $5 that I have into this. And I think it's beautiful. It's gonna look fabulous in my house. I could put it outside if I wanted. I'm gonna glue this down now. But I don't think I will because it's too pretty. I gotta find a good spot to hang it. And I will get rid of the glue strings and I will cover up the little spots off camera where you can see the wire. I could have spray painted this first. That might have been a good solution. But I didn't think of that until just now. Okay, and then let's glue this center area down. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Let me fix this one little spot right here, right now. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. What do you think? Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing lots of suggestions for different kinds of flowers, and absolutely, you could, do whatever style to look at, like whatever kind of flower you want. You could even use, faux flowers, but I'm going to make some. Okay, so let's set this over here. All right, first thing I want to show you is how to make a, what do I call these? Well, you basically make a tube, and then you glue the two sides of the tube together. I'll show you that in just a second. We're going to roll these. Okay, now I have a tube. Right here, can you see? And then you're going to snip little snips into it on the opposite side that you did not glue, all the way down, or as far as you want to go. I call these loopy flowers. I just thought of it. I don't know if there's an actual name for this, but I've been making this style of flower in all kinds of different materials for about 4 years. And it's just so easy. Okay, so we're just going to go that far. Can you see how it has snips? I worked on some of it before I came live, so you wouldn't have to watch me make a million little snips. All right, and then I cut a piece of, I'm going to build my flower on this, which is just a piece of the same thing. And I'm cutting what kind of resembles a circle. All right, we're going to make this one flat. And how you do that is you just start gluing it like this. And you pull it around the shape of the circle. Hopefully I have long enough one there. I think I do. So, do be careful when you are using hot glue on quilt batting, because if the quilt batting melts a little bit, it gets super hot, even if you're using a low temperature hot gluing device. So you could burn yourself. Can you see how I have just started gluing it around the edge of this? This is a great craft for my messy crafters out there. Tell me in the comments if you consider yourself a messy crafter. Judy Hughes says that Easter lilies would be beautiful on it. I totally agree. I just don't know how to make those yet. And I don't have that flower in my stash of faux florals. So we're just going to do this, and it will be just perfect. Okay, so I have gone all the way around, and now I'm going to move it in and do another round just right next to this. Just pulling it down. If it's not a great circle, that's okay. And if you wanted loopier, longer petals, you just make your tube wider so that you have more fabric to cut in snips. Okay, now I have 2 rows around. And let's keep going. We're going to move in a little bit further. We're just going to keep twisting and poking it down into the glue. I think I can do one more time around. And I will fiddle with this in a few minutes to make it absolutely stunningly beautiful. And we'll add a vintage mother of pearl button on it too. Okay, so let's say that it's going to end about right here. Or actually sooner. I have just coiled this tube with snips, so it's loopy, onto this piece, this round piece, which you could trim that if you wanted to make it look, you know, completely perfect, but because it's the same fabric and color, and essentially the same color as the cross rope, I think it's going to be fine. So I'm just going to grab a couple of buttons. I have some pretty ones out. I think we're going to use this one. It's big and beautiful. Yes. Wait. Yes, that's what we're going to do. And I'm just going to put a blob of glue in the center and put my button in and push it down. And there we go. Here is our first loopy flower that's going to go on this cross. Let's look at that. Just a second. Oops. I have a complete disaster going on my desk here. So, I mean, I was thinking we would do a grouping of 3, which I'm going to fiddle with it after the fact because this one is kind of big. But let's do a flower, a loopy flower out of some canvas duck, which it's the same deal every time you take your strip and you glue the 2 sides together. And then you make all your little snips. This time we're going to make this roll on itself. And just looking, I think I'll just cut it off right here. And say that this is going to be the size that it's going to be. So I've snipped all those little loops. And all you do to get started is you fold it over on itself and you start rolling it, and I'll just put a little bead of glue that I'm rolling it into pretty tight. I have about, I don't know, 8 or 10 videos on different kinds of fabric flowers that you can watch here on DIY Dreaming that I've made over the last 4+ years. Flowers have always been one of my favorite things to make. Okay, so see, I keep rolling it into itself. There's the little roll, and here's the front. And at some point you decide, is it the size I want it to be? I'm just looking. And I think this would work. But let's finish it. What the heck? Let's go a little bit further anyways. Okay, let's say this is big enough. Here's the underneath of it. And this kind of a rolled loopy flower is going to have a profile. Can you see that? But I like that. I like the mix of that. So I'm just trying to figure out where did I start? And I'm going to grab a smaller button. Ooh, let's do this diamond one. Diamond shape. Or actually that's a square. These are vintage mother of pearl buttons that I'm using. And that is, these kind of buttons are one of my favorite crafting essentials of all time. And there we go. So I have this one and this one. And then I thought, since we're going to do 3, why don't we do a pulled string burlap one. And this is exactly the same thing. It's a piece of burlap ribbon folded over on itself. It's that 5.5 to 6 inch wide burlap ribbon that you can get at Walmart. You can get it other places too. I glued that together and then I pulled the strings out. So this is called a pulled string burlap flower. And I'm going to do the exact same thing here. So I'm just going to start rolling it into itself. You can use these flowers on a million different kinds of projects. I have some right here I'm going to show you in just a second. Oh, and I want to show you these other rope projects that I have before I forget. Okay, look at these. Aren't those cute? These are all the same thing. And then I just put some of this floral wire in them so they would stand up. And they're in a little mason jar with split peas. The other 2 projects I wanted to show you before I forget are this. We made these angels in October of 2021, I think. I remember that because we were in Canada up at our cottage at the time. And this is this same rope. So if anyone wants this video, let me know and I will go hunt it down. You can put these on a Christmas tree or they could just be hung on a knob. And this is just a wood piece from Hobby Lobby that's glued on her little back. Isn't that cute? And then this is something I'm fiddling around with for a future craft of making a tassel. I don't like the proportion of this, but it was a good first experiment. It needs to be smaller here and longer at the bottom. Anyways, there's lots of things that you can do with that rope. Okay, let's finish this up. And then I will show you what it could look like, but I'm going to fiddle with it off camera. A lot of times I have to look at something and ponder it a little bit to figure out what I want to add, and you know, then I don't like to have to rush into a commitment like that. Just a little bit further. So this is called a pulled string burlap flower. And I have probably 5 videos here on DiyDreaming, on Facebook and on YouTube that show how to do that. Okay, so here's the underneath. It's just rolled, just like this one. And now I'm going to push down the center and kind of fluff and spread out. And then we will glue a button in the center. And that helps smush it out a little bit flatter. This is the exact same thing as the ones I just showed you. Okay, let's look at our cross for a minute. And consider, I want you guys to tell me what you think. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm feeling like maybe these crosses or these flowers are too big. That is kind of what I'm thinking. Or that maybe I just need one. Okay, so here's option one with the quilt batting. Here is option two. And I would spread this apart a little bit so I could get this in there flatter, if that makes sense. Ooh, I might like this one. And here is option three, which I think disappears. It's too small. The one I'm liking the best is this one. Let me see. Could we figure out how to get this profile poked down into the rope so it's almost flush with, yes we can. Would have been better if I had not glued the whole thing. It just looks a little bit off center. So I am gonna fiddle. Fiddle, fiddle, fiddle. I'm also gonna line the back of this so it looks neat. And I'll cover up the little parts where you can see the wreath form. And I'll snip off the long strings. Okay, a lot of people are saying this one is the one they like best. This is number two. This was number one. It's a pretty flower. This was number three, and this is number two. I am kind of thinking that this one is the winner, but then I have to figure out how can I get it so it is completely in the center. And I will do that off camera. But I love it. I had this vision for this when I was at Dollar Tree the other day. I saw these cross wreath things that look like this. And the store I was at had the rope, this rope, which sometimes you can't find this. So if you see this, grab 5 or 6 or 7 of them because you'll use them for lots of future projects. So I just started thinking, I bet I could do something pretty, and I could wrap this with some canvas duck strips, and that is how this came about. And I love it. I think the majority of people are saying that they like this one, the second option, the best. Well, I do hope that you enjoyed this craft project and that I explained it well enough that you feel inspired and able to do this if you would like. Hey, Susie. If you feel like you're missing a step, come back and rewatch this video from the beginning and it will make more sense. Let me tell you where everything came from. The wreath, the cross wreath came from Dollar Tree. My canvas duck that I wrapped it and that I made one of these flowers with came from a fabric store. This quilt batting came from a fabric store. This rope came from Dollar Tree. This burlap ribbon, it's 5.5 or 6 inches wide, comes from Walmart. It's not with the ribbons, it's with the faux floral stuff, and you'll see that they have a whole variety of colors of it. My favorite is this cream. Can you imagine? That's so unlike me. Anyways, that's where that came from. And then the buttons are just ones that I've picked up here and there or that have been given to me. So I'm pretty excited, and I hope that you are too. And if you decide to do this, I want to see your finished cross. So you can post your pictures here in these comments. You can also post them over at Dreamy DIY, which is that free Facebook group I set up for all of us to share our craft projects. If you haven't joined it yet, just answer the 3 questions that it will ask you when you go there. And it's Dreamy DIY. DREAMY space DIY. It's a free Facebook group. You can type Dreamy DIY into your search bar. Answer the questions. We'll say, come on in, and please share pictures if you decide to do a cross like this, because I want to see them, and I know other people will too. All right. Well, next up, either tomorrow or the next day, we'll do another one, but it's going to be this traditional burlap color, and it's going to be different. Okay, it's not exactly the same thing as what we just did, so it should be fun too. And I hope you will join me for that. Do a this or a this. That's a heart. This is a thumb. Or say something to me in the comments. Thank you so much to everyone who did stars. Wow, that's so generous of you. What else do I want to say? Oh, if you haven't liked and followed this page yet, you might want to do that and turn on your notifications. Tammy says she's inspired. I'm so glad. This is not a hard craft at all. It's just, you know, figuring out how I was going to start and end. That was a little bit of a challenge because I wouldn't want those ends that I cut off poking out. But other than that, it was a piece of cake, and I know that every person here on this video is completely capable of doing it. Feel free to sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. If you have questions, ask. That's great. But most likely, if you have questions about the steps, just go back to the beginning of this video and watch it on replay, and all of that will be explained. And it's too hard for me to describe it in words. I can barely describe it with verbal words, let alone in written words. Cynthia says it's very beautiful and she loves it. I do too. Oh my gosh. I am going to have to find a good place for this. It may go upstairs in my bedroom. I am not sure. If you have you know, people in your life that you would want to make something like this for, this whole project is probably about $6 worth of supplies, and then just your time and energy. So I think it would make a fabulous gift for almost anyone. And if you got a smaller wreath cross wreath form, then you could do it quicker and with fewer supplies. Okie dokie. You guys have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day. I'll get pictures. I'm going to fiddle. And I'll post those here and just on DIY Dreaming. All right. Thanks for joining me. I hope to see you guys again very soon.